A very good morning to all the students. Welcome back to the class again. Before we start our today's lecture video, I would like you to remind all the appropriate behavior which we were following and we must keep on following to avoid this COVID-19, that is coronavirus. Do not forget to maintain social distance. That means you have to stay away from 6 feet from any person whenever you go out. You have to wear your mask regularly. Do not move out of the house without the mask. Do not share your food and water, because if you share your food and water, there are chances of you getting infected by this virus, because we don't know who is suffering from this virus. So it's better to take precaution and not to share food and water with anybody. Then we have to wash our hands regularly, because washing the hands will get rid us of the virus. If we might get infected, if we might get the virus attached to our hand, we have to wash it with soap, water, and we can sanitize also our hand with the hand sanitizers. These will help us to be safe from the coronavirus. So we have to maintain all these practice, because this will help us to stay safe, and we can get rid of the coronavirus, that is COVID-19. So everyone must follow these steps, which we have been doing since quite a long time, but we still have to continue doing it. Okay, so after this we'll start our next topic of the chapter number 4. So today we will be doing the chapter number 4, which is the last chapter of our syllabus, that is structure of atom. I have already taken 2 lecture videos of this chapter, but here today, because we were having our unit 2 examination, so I will start with a quick revision of the chapter, and then we will move to the new topics. So structure of atom. We know that atom is a sphere. Okay, so atom is a sphere which has a nucleus in the center, and in the nucleus it has protons. In the nucleus it has protons and neutrons. That means the protons and neutrons reside in the center of the atom, and rest of the atom is all empty. So in this portion where it is nothing resides the electron. So there are some energy levels called as orbitals where the electrons resides. Okay, so protons are positively charged particles. Okay, electrons are negatively charged particles, and neutrons are neutral charged particles. So these protons, electrons and neutrons, these are the subdivision units of atom. So before the discovery of all these things, when we have read in our 3rd chapter, we have read that scientists used to believe that the matter, the tiniest part of the matter is called as atom. That means the atom is the smallest part of a matter which cannot be split into further parts. Okay, but then we came to know that atom can also be split into 3 different segments, which are called as protons, electrons and neutrons. So some theories were they were false. That means John Dalton said that atom cannot be divisible, but it can be divisible. Now we are learning that atom is divisible. But in 3rd chapter we have read about the postulates of John Dalton, in which he said that atom is an indivisible particle of matter which cannot be split into further parts, but atom can be split into further parts into proton, neutron, and electron. Okay, so since the charge, this is a charge, the charge of the proton is always the charge of electron. That means the number of proton in an atom is always equal to the number of electron in an atom. That means whatever the charge there are in proton, there will be equal number of charge in the electron. So an atom is electrically neutral. Okay, so atom is an electrically neutral. It does not have any positive charge or any negative charge, though it has charges, but the amount of positive charge will be equal to the amount of negative charge, so both the charge will get cancelled, so the atom do not have any charge. For example, if we take example of sodium atom, okay, so sodium has 11 protons and sodium has 11 electrons. Okay, that means sodium has 11 charge, positive charge, and 11 negative charge. So both the charge will be cancelled, equal number of charge. So that means it will not have any charge. So the overall charge in the sodium atom will be 0 because same number of positive charge and same number of negative charge. So now what is this proton? These are the things which we have discussed in the previous lecture, previous chapter also, that the atomic number of an element atomic number of an element equals to number of proton always. So the number of proton in any atom is the atomic number, and atomic mass of an element is the sum of proton and neutron. Okay, so it is the sum of the mass of the proton and neutron. So this neutron has mass, so that means proton has charge, okay, and neutron has only mass, and electron has charge. So proton has plus charge, plus u charge, neutron has minus u charge. U, it's a unified charge mass, charge. It is not, okay, U stands for this, this is the unit of mass. We will not write U here. So it has plus 1 charge, it has minus 1 charge, and neutron has 1 U mass. Now proton also have charge, along with this it also have mass. It has no charge, and electron has charge, but it does not have any mass. This also I have discussed with you all people in the last lecture video, so I am not going into again. So today we will be doing the Thomson model of an atom. Thomson's model of an atom. Okay, so Sir J.J. Thomson was the scientist who proposed the model of an atom, Okay, so the first model of an atom. Now, whatever we see, like I have discussed this, that this is the structure of an atom. So this structure of atom was not given in the early period. It has been, modified to a lot of extent, that now we know that atom is a sphere, but it was not believed like this in the earlier times. When people were not knowing anything about matter, the scientists were assuming what matter could look like, or what matter should be like. So the Thomson, J.J. Thomson, proposed a model of an atom, that he said that atom is like a sphere. Atom is like a sphere. It is a ball, and he gave this Christmas pudding model. It is called as Christmas pudding model because the Christmas cake which you would have seen is a solid cake. Okay, and in it you would have seen some dry fruit, so that is called as Christmas pudding. So that dry fruit cake which you would have seen in the bakeries during the Christmas is called as Christmas pudding. So J.J. Thomson compared the structure of the atom with the Christmas pudding model, in which he said that the atom is like a Christmas cake, and which is filled with the positive charge all over, and into it has some negative charge embedded on it, just like the dry fruit in the Christmas cake. Okay, or he also compared it with a watermelon, tarboos. Okay, so you have seen the watermelon. So when you cut the watermelon into two halves, you see a red juicy part in it. So that all the red juicy part in the watermelon was considered as the positive charge, and the black seeds in the watermelon melon was considered as the negative charge. So J.T. Thomson believed that. He gave a model in which he said that in an atom, all the positive charge are spread all over, like the red edible part of the watermelon, and the electrons are studied. They are embedded in the center, in between. They in that positive sphere there are some negative charges. Okay, just like the seeds in the watermelon. So he proposed that an odd atom consists of a positively charged sphere and electrons are embedded in it. And he also said that the negative charge and the positive charge are equal in magnitude. So J.J. Thomson gave a model of the atom which was not very correct by that time. Because it was not correct, that is why there were more experiments done on this model, and then the new better model came. But he said a thing that which was correct by that time as well, that the negative charge and the positive charge in an atom are always equal. So we'll just write the proposal or the postulate of the Thomson. He said that an atom consists of a positively charged sphere and the electron are embedded in it. Okay. Then he said that the negative and positive charges are equal in magnitude so the atom as a whole is electrically neutral. So J.J. Thomson gave two things, that an atom consists of a positively charged sphere and the electrons are embedded in it, just like a Christmas pudding model, that all the positive charge is made up of, all the atom is made up of the positive charge, and into it there are some negative charge which are embedded on the atom, just like the dry fruits on the cake. And then he said the negative and positive charge are equal in the magnitude. So that is why the atom is electrically neutral. So the Thomson's model explained that atoms are electrically neutral, but the other experiments were also being done by the other scientists, and one of the experiment was done by the Rutherford, who was the student of J.J. Thomson. He was in the team of the J.J. Thomson when he was studying, but then Ernest Rutherford So the Rutherford gave a very revolutionary experiment which is called as gold foil experiment. This is a very famous experiment which is Rutherford's gold foil experiment. So he also wanted to know about the structure of an atom, and he arranged some electrons. Like he did an experiment, he used alpha particles. So these alpha particles are, they were just a helium particle. So now we know that helium has atomic number 2. So in any atom there are like 2 protons and 2 neutrons and 2 electrons. Okay, so the mass of helium is 4, because sum of proton and sum of neutron, and the charge in helium is what? Charge will be +2 -2, negative charge 0. But helium may say, if we'll remove electrons from this helium, so it will only have mass and +2 charge. Okay, so alpha particle is nothing. It was believed that it was a helium particle, it was a helium atom, and from this helium the electrons were removed, so it only had the positive charge, which is +2 charge, and it has mass of 4. So it was a very heavy particle with a positive charge only and with a mass. So helium particle, we don't say helium particle, but it was believed that the alpha particle was made from the helium atom. So this alpha particle was a heavy particle with a positive charge, with the only positive charge, no negative charge in it. So it was chosen, and a gold foil was selected. The gold foil, why did he select a gold foil? Gold foil, you would have seen aluminium foil in the houses. Your mother cooks food and then they pack your food in the aluminium foil. So they are the thin sheets of metal. So just like that, there is a gold foil, thin gold foil. The gold is a metal, and metals are malleable. They can be beaten into sheets. So gold is a metal which can be beaten into small or thin, very thin sheets. Okay, so the gold foil was taken, and because in the gold foil the thinnest layer is possible, so the layer of the gold foil which was taken was about only 100,000 atoms thick. Now you know that atoms are very tiny. They are so tiny that we can't even see them from our normal eyes. So these atoms, they were only like imagine only 1,000 atoms thickness was there. So if we'll write 1,000 atoms, it was so thin. Even then it has 1,000, it's not 1,000, sorry, what I'm doing here. So it was only 1,000 atom thickness. Okay, so 1,000 atom thickness means only 1,000 atoms were there in the gold foil, in the thickness. Okay, so then the alpha particles were double charged helium ions, because helium has two atoms, two electrons and two protons. So electrons has been removed, so it just had positive charge, two positive charge in it. So it has mass of 4. So when the fast moving particles, so he set an experiment, and the setup was done like he placed a screen like this. Okay, like this, and then here he made a sheet of gold foil here. Okay, and here it was like this sheet was coated with zinc sulfide. It was a fluorescent shining sheet, and here was a thin sheet of gold foil. Okay, okay, and from here he kept the bombardment of the alpha particles. The alpha particles were bombarded on this sheet. Okay, now what happened when the alpha particle was bombarded to the thin sheet? It was like a thin paper, because it was very very thin, and so the alpha particles were passing by. The alpha particle were moving through the sheets, and because this was the shiny this medium, so every streak was visible that they are going and they are crossing to the this thin sheet of gold foil. Okay, so it is just like you are firing a bullet on a paper. What will happen? The bullet will pass through the paper. Okay, so the all the scientists in the team of the Rutherford was doing this experiment. Okay, so after doing this experiment for 2-3 days, what happened? That alpha particles were expected that they will just, they will pass this gold foil. Okay, so in the experiment, there were 3 main points which Rutherford was surprised by. That he was expecting that because there are subatomic particles in the atom, like we have read already that atom has protons, neutrons, and electrons. So it was believed that some alpha particles will have little deflection, but the 3 main things which Rutherford noticed was that the alpha particles, some of the alpha particles were very fast moving actually, so they were passing straight to the gold foil. Some of the alpha particles were deflected, like they were not going straight but they're deflecting from their path. They were changing the position from their path. And some of the alpha particles, like out of every 12,000 particles appear to rebound. They were just going back from their place. So it was done like this. So why did it happen? So this result was almost very very surprising. And if just imagine that if you fire 15-inch shell to any piece of tissue paper, if you fire a bullet on a tissue paper, so if it will comes back and hit you, do you believe this? No, because it is not possible that a tissue paper will rebound back a bullet. So it was an experiment which let the Ford think that there is something different in the atom. So it is an activity which explain that in an atom there is a region which does not allow the alpha particle to move through it, and it rebounded the alpha particle from the center. Like if I'll explain you like this, these are the gold foil atoms all over here. Okay, so there were alpha particles coming from each and every direction. Okay, so when the alpha particles was coming like this, so here is the center of the atom, nucleus. But by the time the Rutherford and his fellow men did not knew about this. So when they were going like this, So they were away from the center, so they had a little deviation. Okay, when they were coming quite far from the nucleus, they were passing straight, and like this they were passing straight. And when they were coming directly to here, like here, so they were not allowed to pass, but they were deflected back, because in the center there is a heavy particle which is nucleus, in which all the positive charge was there, and we know that alpha particle was only the positive charge. So the positive charge and the positive charge will repel each other. That is why this alpha particle was rebounded back, and it only happened out of every 12,000 particles that it appeared to rebound back. But the other particles which were moving, like they were moving near the nucleus, so they were just deviating their direction, and they were which were going very very far from the nucleus, so they were just going straight like this, were going straight. So it proved that in the atom, the atom is all empty, it does not have anything, it's just an empty sphere, but only the positive charge is in the center, because in the Thomson model it was believed that the atom is full of positive charge. So if it had been full of positive charge, then these alpha particle would have not been easily transferred or easily moved through the atom, but the particles were able to move through the atom because they were the positive charge only in the center of the atom. So this Goldfall experiment was a very very revolution. Just imagine that if you stand in an open field, and then so if your child stands in an open field and then he throws a ball anywhere, the ball will just move on. And if then again he throws a ball on a wall, the ball will bounce. The ball will bounce back after hitting the wall. What if he is having a perforated any this kind of a thing? And then he throws a ball, then the chances are there the ball will either pass from this, or the ball will strike to this iron bar. So the chances are very less of striking the ball to the iron bar. So Rutherford came to know that there are some distance in the atom which are empty like this, and some of the places in the atom are they are very very hard, and they have something in the center that the alpha particle was striking back. So this concluded that most of the space inside the atom is empty, that the most of the atom is empty, and that is why the alpha particle passed through the gold foil without any deflection. Then very few particles reflected from their path, because they had in the center there was a positive charge which occupies very little space, and then the very small fractions of the alpha particles they were deflected in the 180 degree, indicating that the positive charge and the mass of the gold atom were concentrated only in the small volume of an atom which is in the center. So it was concluded that the atom is all empty sphere which has only a positive charge in the center, and the discovery of nucleus was done by then. So Rutherford had a very a revolutionary experiment. So on the basis of the experiment of Rutherford, the new nuclear model was proposed. The new atom model was proposed, that there is a positive charge in the center in the atom which is called as nucleus. So there was a discovery of nucleus. That means the positive charge nuclear model of the new model of an atom by the Rutherford were that the positive charge is always in the center, which is called as nucleus. Then the electrons revolve around the nucleus in a circular path. Around the nucleus in a circular path. And then the size of the nucleus is very small as compared to the atom. Okay, so these were concluded by the Rutherford experiment. After this, there were again some drawbacks of the Rutherford's model of an atom, which again inspired the other scientists to discover the new things. So we will be doing it in our next lecture video about the drawbacks and the new Bohr's model of an atom. Okay, till then do the work which I will be giving you, and please study. Okay, thank you and take care of yourself.